on those funded deals is very low. So if you're going to invest your time and we only have a certain amount of hours in the day, it logically makes more sense to put that into deals that will give you a higher probability of success and also a far higher payout. So we just don't get involved in these types of deals. So from our perspective, if they say it's less than 12 months, then we will disqualify that lead and we will move on. If it's more than 12 months, however, we now have something that has potential to be funded. So we want to quickly move into the next set of questions. So we're going to want to know what their FICO score is. And again, for us, 600 or less, it's likely going to be disqualification. We may offer credit repair if the client or the potential client is demonstrating that they have a business that's on a growth trajectory, okay? So that will mean that if we get their credit score repaired, they can come back and likely get funding successfully thereafter. So on that basis, disqualify or potentially offer credit repair, but we certainly do move on. Now, if the answer is 600 plus, again, this doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get funding, and the type of funding they will get or the amount they will get will differ depending on their credit score, but it has potential, which is why I say, okay, so I'm going to want to very quickly move into the next question, which is, what is your average monthly revenue for the last 3 months? Now, it's important you state average because most people, if you just ask what's your monthly revenue in the last 3 months, they will pick the highest month, okay, the month with the highest amount of revenue. And it's very easy for us to make the assumption that that is what their monthly revenue is. So it's very important we understand the average. Now, again, if it comes back as less than 8,000, disqualify and move on. It's very, I mean, there are some lenders out there that will do that, but again, it's about investing your time and maximizing your monetary return, okay? So you could potentially get into something like that, and you might even get that one funded, but the way we would look at that is that if we invested the same amount of time on a better quality deal, we're obviously going to maximize the return. So we would disqualify and move on. Now, if they came back and said 8,000, this one has potential, right? And from our perspective, this is where we will actually start pre-framing that prospect for a close later on. And I'll very quickly explain what we mean there. Most people will get into the close at the point they have an offer, okay? And I don't know if you probably had this experience yourself, but you can very easily get into a situation where you make an offer and the client declines or says, I've got another option on, or I might go to my bank, whatever it may be, because the rates that you've come back with are not what they were expecting. But it may well be that it's a really, really good offer. I don't know how many times it's happened to you, but it's certainly happened to us over the years where you put forward a very, very strong offer, but it's not to their expectation. And the reason that is that, you know, they might have a low FICO score, which means they're going to get a higher rate, but they haven't been pre-framed for that. So the process of starting to close actually happens at the very start of the process of talking to that potential prospect. So we're going to start pre-framing for that close later on. And we get into that by asking how much funding they require. So again, depending on the FICO score, this is actually going to dictate how much funding they can get. But we want to get a sense from them of what it is they want, because obviously if it's within the ballpark of what we know is feasible, given their FICO score, then we know we're probably going to get a deal here that can close quickly. So general rule of thumb, it's going to be around 10 to 30% of their yearly 12-month revenue with good credit. And with good credit, they can even potentially get a higher percentage and even move into a term loan. So it gives them, the higher the credit basically means they have a lot more options than obviously if they've got lower credit for obvious reasons. So if they've got lower credit and you know that, let's just say they said their monthly revenue is 10K and they're saying to you that they want a 10K loan, then that's going to be a pretty straightforward thing to do. If on the other hand, they're saying they want 30K, but they've got low credit, it's not that you can't do that, but the likelihood is that the rate will be a bit higher. So you want to start pre-framing that in the conversation and just sort of sussing out what they think about that one. Because ultimately, if they're dead set against a high rate, then there is no point you continuing working that deal. Okay, there's no, because you're just going to waste your time, get down to the end of that, get an offer in, and they're not going to take it. So this is really, really important. So moving on, if they're in a situation where, you know, they're either in the ballpark anyway, based on their credit score, or we've been able to have that conversation and explain that, hey, look, based on your credit score, the rate's likely going to be X, Y, Z. Are you comfortable with that? Blah, blah, blah. And they're happy, then we would move on. And the next thing we want to now know is like, is this business even real, right? Because I don't know about you, but we can speak to a lot of people that have a tendency to tell lies or exaggerate. So we want to know the business's name. And once they've given us that, we would then naturally ask what their website address is. Now, I know there are some industries and some businesses that just don't have website addresses, but on the whole, they mostly do. And it's a very easy way to very quickly just check them out online, right? If they have a good website and an online presence, then you've got a bit more credibility here than, say, somebody that doesn't. So we will ask what their website address is. And now this is a question that a lot of others don't ask. And again, this for us affects the probability of success. So even if we have a really, really strong deal, and we've asked this question of, are they working with any other brokers? And they say yes. Obviously, I'm now going to want to know how many, right? So this is diminishing my chances, my probability of getting a return on the basis that they're working with other brokers. And obviously, the more they're working with, as you probably already know, the less chances are that you're going to get that deal, but also they're probably going to really damage their credit score anyway. So the deal that you might have been able to get them had they not been doing that is likely not going to happen because of the fact they're working with other brokers. So from our perspective, if we ask that question and they are, I'm going to want to know, well, how long have you been working with these guys? What's happened? What are the outcomes? Have they come forward with any offers? In this situation, so as an example, if I asked how many and they said 3 as an example, and have you had any other offers? And they said, yes, we have. Then I want to know, why haven't you taken them? I would then question potentially the FICO score based on what they've actually said, because we know at that point that's going to hit that. If they say they haven't had any offers, then again, I'm going to want to know why, because that's a red flag to me. So to bottom line, if they are working with any other brokers at a high level, disqualify and move on. If they aren't working with any other brokers, then you're going to want to have a conversation and explain, hey, look, I know you're not right now. It's best not to work with other brokers, and here's why. And explain the situation from their perspective if they did go and do that. Don't fall into the trap that I see a lot of other brokers do of just selling themselves. We're the best brokerage in the world. We've done this, that, and the other. They do not care, okay? They just want to know what's in it for them. And the best way to do that is just explain the facts of the situation. Hey, look, if you go out and you speak to other brokers and they take your file and they start doing searches on you, that's going to massively impact your FICO score, and that will inadvertently affect the deal that you can get. So I normally say it like this: give me however many days you think it's going to take you to get everything together, okay? And part of that obviously is on them to provide the documentation, but give me X amount of time. As long as you provide me with X, give me this many days, I will come back with the offers. If at the point then that they're not what you want, then by all means go and speak to other brokers. But personally, I've been doing this for XYZ years, I'll get you what you need. And generally speaking, you will have a bit of loyalty there. There might be a time limit on that, but you have enough time there to go and get them the offers that you can get them on the basis that you've asked the questions in the right way. Okay, so again, if you haven't properly pre-framed and they're not really aware that they might be getting a higher rate, then at that point, again, I would suggest that you do so. This is all about how you pre-frame. Pre-framing and just being honest is the single best way just to build that trust and credibility that these guys need to be able to work with you. But on the basis that all of that is done at this particular point, we would actually continue and take a full application and now invest our time to go and get that person funded. Hopefully this has been of interest and some help. And if you'd like to learn more, there's a link below this video. Feel free to schedule a call with me. I'm very willing to just help and offer advice to people just to help them along the way. But we do have our affiliate program. So if you've got any questions on that, again, book a call with me. I'm happy to explain exactly how we work things. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.